Jeffrey Epstein was born on January 20, 1953, in Brooklyn, New York. Growing up in a modest household, he was the son of a schoolteacher and a groundskeeper. Epstein attended Lafayette High School and later enrolled at Cooper Union before transferring to New York University, where he dropped out without completing his degree. His career began in finance at Bear Stearns, where he quickly made a name for himself due to his keen understanding of the financial markets. Epstein's charm and networking skills allowed him to rise through the ranks, leading to his establishment of J. Epstein and Company, a firm that catered to wealthy clients. By the late 1980s, he had become a prominent figure in elite social circles, mingling with influential personalities, including politicians and celebrities. This rise to prominence would later play a significant role in the controversies surrounding his life and actions. Jeffrey Epstein began his career in finance at Bear Stearns, where he quickly rose through the ranks due to his keen analytical skills and ability to build relationships. Starting as a junior trader, Epstein showcased a talent for attracting wealthy clients, which ultimately led to his promotion to a limited partner. His time at Bear Stearns laid the groundwork for his future endeavors in the financial world. In 1982, Epstein established his own financial firm, J. Epstein and Company, which catered exclusively to high-net-worth individuals. This firm specialized in asset management and investment strategies, allowing Epstein to leverage his connections and expertise. His clientele included some of the wealthiest individuals, further enhancing his reputation in elite circles. Epstein's career was marked by a blend of financial acumen and a knack for networking, which not only propelled his professional success, but also paved the way for his later controversial associations and activities. Jeffrey Epstein's connections with influential figures played a crucial role in shaping his public persona. His social circle included prominent politicians, celebrities, and royalty, which not only elevated his status, but also provided him with a veneer of legitimacy. Epstein was known to have close ties with former President Bill Clinton, who traveled on Epstein's private jet multiple times. Additionally, Epstein was photographed with Prince Andrew, further intertwining his life with the elite. Celebrities like Naomi Campbell and Kevin Spacey also frequented his gatherings, enhancing his image as a well-connected socialite. These relationships allowed Epstein to cultivate an aura of power and exclusivity, masking his illicit activities. The presence of such high-profile individuals in his life created an impression of respectability, making it easier for him to operate under the radar. This network not only facilitated his access to wealth and influence, but also shielded him from scrutiny, allowing his criminal behavior to persist for years without consequence. The Epstein file serves as a crucial document in understanding the complex web of Jeffrey Epstein's life and his criminal activities. It encompasses a vast array of evidence, including testimonies, financial records, and correspondence that reveal the extent of his operations. This file is significant not only for detailing the allegations against Epstein, but also for illustrating how he managed to evade accountability for so long. It sheds light on the mechanisms of power and influence he wielded, allowing him to navigate elite circles while engaging in heinous acts. The Epstein file is not just a collection of data, it represents a critical turning point in the fight against human trafficking and sexual abuse. By exposing the dark underbelly of Epstein's world, it has ignited public discourse and prompted a re-evaluation of how society addresses such crimes. Ultimately, the Epstein file is a testament to the importance of transparency and justice in confronting systemic abuses of power. Jeffrey Epstein faced numerous allegations of serious crimes, primarily involving the sexual exploitation and trafficking of underage girls. The timeline of events began to unfold in 2005 when a parent reported Epstein's inappropriate behavior towards a minor. This led to a police investigation in Palm Beach, Florida, which revealed a disturbing pattern of abuse. In 2008, Epstein received a controversial plea deal that allowed him to serve only 13 months in a work release program, despite the severity of the allegations. However, the revelations did not stop there. In 2019, renewed investigations were prompted by a series of articles that exposed Epstein's extensive network of abuse and his connections to powerful figures. On July 6, 2019, he was arrested again, facing federal charges of sex trafficking. The allegations against Epstein painted a grim picture of manipulation, coercion, and exploitation, leading to widespread outrage and demands for justice. The 2008 plea deal struck between Jeffrey Epstein and federal prosecutors remains one of the most controversial aspects of his criminal history. This agreement allowed Epstein to plead guilty to lesser state charges of solicitation and procurement of minors for prostitution, resulting in an 18-month sentence, of which he served only 13 months in a work release program. Critics argue that this deal was a gross miscarriage of justice, as it effectively silenced Epstein's victims and shielded him from more severe federal charges. The implications were profound, Many victims felt betrayed and marginalized as they were not consulted during the negotiations. Additionally, the deal included a non-prosecution agreement that extended to any potential co-conspirators, raising questions about accountability. This leniency not only emboldened Epstein, but also highlighted systemic failures within the justice system, sparking outrage and calls for reform that resonate to this day as survivors continue to seek justice. The investigations that culminated in Jeffrey Epstein's 2019 arrest were marked by relentless efforts from investigative journalists and law enforcement. A significant turning point came in 2016 when the Miami Herald published a groundbreaking series by reporter Julie K. Brown. Her work meticulously detailed Epstein's past, including the controversial plea deal from 2008, and exposed the stories of numerous victims who had been silenced. This investigative journalism reignited public interest and scrutiny over Epstein's activities, prompting further inquiries. As a result of this heightened awareness, federal authorities reopened the case against Epstein. In July 2019, he was arrested on charges of sex trafficking minors in Florida and New York. The combination of investigative journalism and the courage of survivors played a crucial role in bringing Epstein back into the spotlight, ultimately leading to his arrest. This case exemplifies the power of the press in holding powerful figures accountable for their actions. In 2019, Jeffrey Epstein faced serious federal charges that reignited public interest in his past crimes. The federal indictment accused him of operating a sex trafficking ring involving underage girls. Prosecutors alleged that Epstein recruited and exploited vulnerable young women, some as young as 14 years old, at his residence in New York and Florida. The indictment detailed how he lured these girls with promises of modeling opportunities and financial assistance, only to subject them to sexual abuse. Epstein was charged with sex trafficking of minors and conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking. The indictment emphasized the systematic nature of his operations, revealing a network of enablers who facilitated his crimes. This legal action marked a significant shift in the pursuit of justice for Epstein's victims, as it aimed to hold him accountable for his actions after years of perceived impunity. The case highlighted the urgent need for addressing sexual exploitation and trafficking. Jeffrey Epstein's death in custody on August 10, 2019, shocked the world and raised numerous questions. Found unresponsive in his jail cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City, Epstein's death was ruled a suicide by hanging. However, the circumstances surrounding his death sparked widespread speculation and conspiracy theories. Many question how a high-profile inmate with connections to powerful individuals could die under such circumstances. The failure of security cameras and the absence of regular checks by guards fueled suspicions of foul play. Various theories emerged suggesting that Epstein may have been murdered to prevent him from implicating others in his crimes. Some theorists even claimed that he had faked his own death to escape prosecution. The combination of Epstein's controversial past, his connections, and the peculiarities of his death created a perfect storm for conspiracy theories, leaving the public divided and searching for answers. After Jeffrey Epstein's death, a wave of legal battles emerged as victims sought justice. Numerous lawsuits were filed against his estate, with claimants alleging sexual abuse and exploitation. These lawsuits aimed to hold Epstein's estate accountable for the harm inflicted upon them. The implications for his estate were significant, as it was estimated to be worth over $600 million, raising questions about how the funds would be distributed. Victims argued that they deserved compensation for their suffering, while the estate's executors faced the challenge of navigating these complex claims. The legal proceedings also revealed the extent of Epstein's financial dealings, with many assets tied up in intricate trusts and investments. As these cases unfolded, they highlighted the broader issues of accountability and the systemic failures that allowed Epstein's actions to persist for years. The outcomes of these lawsuits could set important precedents for future cases involving sexual abuse and trafficking. Ghislaine Maxwell, a British socialite, became a central figure in the Jeffrey Epstein case. Born into a wealthy family, she was well connected in elite circles. Her relationship with Epstein began in the early 1990s, and they quickly became close associates, sharing a lifestyle marked by opulence and influence. Maxwell was not just a friend, she was often described as Epstein's confidant and partner in crime. Allegations suggest she played a pivotal role in recruiting and grooming young women for Epstein, facilitating his illicit activities. She was known to have hosted lavish parties where many of these interactions occurred. Maxwell's involvement extended beyond mere companionship, as she allegedly helped orchestrate a network of abuse that spanned years. Her arrest in July 2021 marked a significant moment in the ongoing investigation into Epstein's extensive criminal enterprise, raising questions about accountability and complicity in the alleged crimes. Ghislaine Maxwell's trial commenced in November 2021, where she faced serious charges including sex trafficking of minors, conspiracy to entice minors to engage in illegal sex acts, and perjury. The prosecution presented compelling evidence, including testimonies from multiple victims who detailed their experiences with Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. They described how Maxwell groomed them, often luring them into a world of abuse and exploitation. The trial also featured graphic accounts of the abuse that occurred at Epstein's various properties. Additionally, the prosecution introduced a range of documents, including flight logs and photographs, to establish Maxwell's involvement in Epstein's criminal enterprise. The defense argued that Maxwell was being scapegoated for Epstein's actions, claiming that the victims were lying or misremembering events. The trial concluded in December 2021, with the jury ultimately finding Maxwell guilty on 5 of the 6 counts against her, leading to a sentencing that would take place in the following months. The Epstein case has far-reaching implications that extend beyond the individual crimes committed. It has ignited crucial conversations about sexual abuse, human trafficking, and the accountability of powerful individuals. The revelations surrounding Epstein's actions have exposed a disturbing reality: the prevalence of abuse within elite circles and the systemic failures that allow such heinous acts to persist. Victims' voices, often silenced, are now being amplified, encouraging a cultural shift towards believing and supporting survivors. Furthermore, the case has prompted discussions about the necessity of reforming legal systems that enable predators to evade justice. The impact is evident in heightened awareness and advocacy efforts aimed at protecting vulnerable populations. As society grapples with these issues, the Epstein case serves as a stark reminder of the urgent need for comprehensive measures to combat sexual exploitation and ensure that accountability is not just a privilege for the powerful, but a fundamental right for all. The public's reaction to the Epstein case has been intense and multifaceted, reflecting a mix of outrage, disbelief, and a thirst for justice. Media coverage played a crucial role, with major news outlets dedicating extensive resources to investigate the allegations and the circumstances surrounding Epstein's life and death. Headlines often focused on his connections to powerful figures, amplifying public interest and scrutiny. Social media discourse exploded, with platforms becoming a battleground for opinions, theories, and calls for accountability. Hashtags related to Epstein trended globally as users shared information, expressed their anger, and demanded action against systemic failures. The case sparked discussions about sexual abuse and trafficking, leading to a broader societal reckoning. Many voiced their support for the victims, emphasizing the importance of listening to survivors. This collective response highlighted a growing awareness of the issues surrounding power dynamics and the need for systemic change to protect vulnerable individuals in society. The Epstein case has exposed significant systemic failures within law enforcement and the justice system. One of the most glaring issues is the apparent complicity and negligence that allowed Epstein to evade serious consequences for years. Despite multiple allegations and investigations, law enforcement agencies failed to take decisive action, often prioritizing his wealth and connections over the rights of his victims. The controversial plea deal in 2008 exemplifies this failure, as it effectively silenced many victims and allowed Epstein to continue his predatory behavior. Furthermore, the case has raised questions about the accountability of those in power, highlighting a troubling pattern where influential individuals are often shielded from justice. The lack of adequate resources and training for law enforcement in handling sexual abuse cases also contributed to the systemic issues. Ultimately, the Epstein case serves as a critical reminder of the urgent need for reform to ensure that victims are heard and justice is served. The investigations into Jeffrey Epstein's associates and the broader network of abuse continue to unfold, revealing a complex web of complicity and silence. Law enforcement agencies are actively pursuing leads related to individuals who may have facilitated Epstein's criminal activities. This includes examining financial records, communication logs, and testimonies from victims. Legal actions are also underway against several of Epstein's associates, with some facing civil lawsuits from victims seeking justice and accountability. Ghislaine Maxwell's conviction has sparked renewed interest in the roles of others who were part of Epstein's inner circle, prompting calls for further investigations. Additionally, multiple jurisdictions are involved as the implications of Epstein's actions span across state and international borders. The ongoing legal battles highlight the challenges of holding powerful individuals accountable, as well as the importance of continued advocacy for victims. As these investigations progress, they may uncover more about the extent of the abuse and the mechanisms that enabled it. The Epstein case has profoundly influenced culture, inspiring a wave of documentaries, books, and public awareness campaigns. Notable documentaries like Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich have shed light on his heinous crimes, drawing attention to the systemic failures that allowed his abuse to persist. These visual narratives have sparked conversations about accountability and the importance of believing survivors. Books such as The Jeffrey Epstein Case, The Untold Story have provided deeper insights into the complexities of his life and the legal battles that ensued. Public awareness campaigns have emerged aiming to educate communities about sexual abuse and trafficking. Organizations have leveraged the Epstein case to advocate for legislative changes and support for victims. The cultural impact extends to social media, where discussions about consent and victim advocacy have gained momentum. Overall, the Epstein case has catalyzed a significant shift in public consciousness, emphasizing the need for justice and systemic reform in addressing sexual exploitation. The Epstein case serves as a stark reminder of the critical importance of believing victims and advocating for justice. Many survivors faced immense challenges in coming forward, often met with skepticism or dismissal. Their courage in sharing their stories highlights the need for a supportive environment where victims feel safe to speak out. This case has ignited conversations about the systemic failures that allow abuse to persist, emphasizing that accountability must extend beyond individual perpetrators to the institutions that enable them. Advocating for justice means not only supporting victims, but also demanding reforms in law enforcement and legal systems to ensure that allegations are taken seriously. The public's response to the Epstein case has shown that collective action can drive change, fostering a culture where survivors are heard, believed, and empowered. Ultimately, the lessons learned from this tragedy underscore the necessity of vigilance and advocacy in the ongoing fight against sexual abuse and exploitation. Jeffrey Epstein's legacy is a complex and troubling one, marked by his heinous crimes and the suffering of countless victims. The ongoing fight for justice remains crucial, as survivors seek acknowledgement, accountability, and reparations for the trauma they endured. Their courage in speaking out has ignited a movement, emphasizing the need for systemic change to prevent similar abuses in the future. The Epstein case has revealed significant flaws within our legal and social systems, highlighting how power and privilege can shield perpetrators from accountability. It is essential to advocate for reforms that prioritize victim support and ensure that law enforcement takes allegations seriously. As society grapples with the implications of Epstein's actions, the focus must shift towards creating a safer environment for all where victims are believed and supported. Only through collective efforts can we hope to dismantle the structures that enable such abuses and foster a culture of justice and healing.